Thousands of years ago, choosing the wrong plant could kill you, but choosing the right one might save your life. Before hospitals, before pharmacies, before laboratories, before anyone could look inside a leaf and explain its chemistry, human beings had to learn from the wild itself. They had to watch, taste, remember, and sometimes suffer. In ancient China, that dangerous search for food, medicine, and survival was remembered through one legendary figure, Shennong, the divine farmer. The story says that Shennong walked through mountains and fields, tasting hundreds of plants to discover which ones could be eaten, which ones could heal, and which ones were poisonous. Some versions even say he encountered many poisons in a single day, and that tea helped him survive. Of course, we should be very clear. This is a legend, not something anyone should imitate. Do not taste wild plants. Many of them can be toxic, and even plants that look harmless can be dangerous. But the reason this story survived for thousands of years is not because people simply believed Shennong was magical. The story survived because it says something deep about how medicine began. Imagine standing in a forest thousands of years ago. There is no doctor waiting for you, no emergency room, no printed medical book, no search engine. Around you are roots, leaves, flowers, seeds, bark, insects, stones, rivers, and soil. Somewhere in that world may be food, somewhere may be poison, somewhere may be relief for pain. But how would you know? That was the ancient human problem. Survival depended on memory. If one person ate a berry and became sick, the group remembered. If someone chewed a bitter root and felt their stomach calm down, the group remembered. If leaves placed on a wound seemed to help, the group remembered. If a plant caused fever, vomiting, dizziness, or death, the group remembered that too. Over generations, these memories became warnings, habits, stories, and eventually knowledge. This is why Shennong is more than a mythological character. He represents the countless unnamed people who observed nature, took risks, made mistakes, and passed down what they learned. The name Shennong itself is important. Nong means farming. So Shennong is not only connected with medicine, but also with agriculture. In Chinese culture, farming and healing have always been close to each other. Farming asks, what does the land produce? What grows in spring? What ripens in autumn? What does rain change? What does cold preserve? Medicine asks similar questions, but about the body. What warms it? What cools it? What strengthens it? What weakens it? What happens when the body is out of balance? Ancient Chinese people did not see human beings as separate from nature. They saw the body as part of the same world as the seasons, plants, weather, soil, and time. That is why traditional Chinese medicine often uses the language of nature, cold and heat, rising and falling, growth and storage, movement and stillness. To modern ears, this can sound poetic or even mysterious. But in the beginning, it came from observation. People watched nature, and they watched the body. The story of Shennong tasting herbs tells us that Chinese medicine did not begin as a theory written in a quiet room. It began in the fields, in the mountains, in kitchens, in wounds, in hunger, in illness, and in the need to survive. Later, China developed a long tradition called Bencao, often translated as materia medica, or the study of medicinal materials. But in simple terms, Bencao is the study of what things in nature do to the body. Many early remedies came from plants, roots, leaves, flowers, seeds, bark, and grasses. Over time, Chinese materia medica also included minerals and animal products, but plants remained central. This is why the word ciao, meaning grass or herb, still carries the memory of medicine's natural origin. One famous text is called the Shennong Bencao Jing, or the Divine Farmer's Classic of Materia Medica. It was not literally written by Shennong himself, but the name connects the book to that older cultural memory, the idea that the search for medicine began with direct experience of nature. But here is the part many people miss. The story is not really about one man tasting 100 herbs. It is about 3 discoveries. The first discovery is that food and medicine are not always completely separate. In Chinese culture, there is an idea often called medicine and food sharing the same origin. Ginger can be used in cooking, but it also appears in traditional health practices. Chinese yam is a food, but it is also recorded in classical texts. Red dates, goji berries, dried tangerine peel, and many other ingredients can sit in a kitchen and also appear in discussions of traditional wellness. But this idea is often misunderstood. It does not mean food can replace medical treatment. It does not mean any ingredient can cure disease. It does not mean everyone should eat the same thing. The real idea is more careful. What we eat affects the body, and different people may respond differently. Ancient people noticed that diet, season, body condition, and timing all mattered. Shennong's story is really about the beginning of that ability to distinguish. The second discovery is that natural things have effects, but those effects are not always simple. One plant may warm the body, another may cool it. One may make people sweat, another may settle the stomach. One may calm, another may stimulate. Some may help in the right situation and harm in the wrong one. Ancient people did not have modern chemistry, but they did have attention. They paid close attention to taste, smell, temperature, digestion, pain, sleep, energy, and reaction, compared what happened again and again. Over time, these observations became patterns. This is where traditional Chinese medicine developed its own language: cold, hot, warm, cool, rising, descending, floating, sinking. Whether we agree with every ancient explanation or not, we can understand the human effort behind it. It was an attempt to turn experience into a system. The third discovery is reverence. This may be the most important lesson of all. Nature is powerful, but it is not always gentle. A plant can nourish you. A plant can poison you. A remedy can help in one situation and hurt in another. This is why the deeper message of Shennong is not try everything. The deeper message is pay attention. Respect the body, respect nature, respect medicine. Do not treat powerful things casually. That lesson is still important today. Modern people live in a world overflowing with health advice. Every day, someone online says a certain tea will change your life. Someone says you are deficient in this or full of that. Someone recommends an herb, a supplement, a detox, a powder, a routine, a miracle. The problem is not that people care too much about health. The problem is that people are often given simple answers to complex bodies. Shennong's story points in the opposite direction. It says knowledge takes patience, takes observation, takes humility, and it takes caution. If you have real symptoms, chronic illness, pregnancy, or you are taking medication, you should speak with a qualified medical professional before using herbs or supplements. That is not a rejection of tradition. In fact, it is very close to the traditional spirit of careful judgment. Now, why did ancient China choose this kind of story as one of the origin stories of medicine? Why not say medicine began with a king, a temple, or a secret book? Why a farmer walking through the wild, tasting plants because at its root, medicine is not about mystery. It is about reducing suffering. In the legend, Shennong is not searching for immortality for himself. He is not trying to become powerful. He is trying to help ordinary people know what can feed them, what can harm them, and what might relieve pain. That gives the story a very human heart. Medicine begins with care. It begins with someone asking, how can people live? How can they suffer less? How can knowledge be passed on so the next person does not have to make the same dangerous mistake? This is why Shennong tasting 100 herbs is not just a Chinese myth. It is a memory of humanity's first relationship with medicine. Before medicine became a profession, it was survival. Before it became books, it was experience. Before it became theory, it was a question asked in the wilderness. What does this do to the body? And perhaps that is why the story still matters. Today, we do not need to taste unknown plants. We should not. But we still need the spirit behind the story: curiosity toward nature, awareness of the body, respect for knowledge, and caution toward anything powerful enough to change us. So what did Shennong really taste? Not merely 100 herbs. He tasted hunger, danger, hope, pain, memory, and the beginning of medicine itself. And if this story can teach us one thing today, it is this: healing begins not with magic, the tension,